Hi everybody, welcome to Llew's Reviews, where I talk about movies that have come out, and in this episode, we're going to outer space again in Guardians of the Frickin' Galaxy, Volume 2. This works, right? A V and a 2? So picking up from the last movie, these guys have been known throughout the galaxy as the Guardians of the Galaxy after saving Nova Corps in that great galactic battle in the last movie. And if you love the first one, I don't think there's anything else that you could say bad about this one. I personally loved it. I mean, the beginning of the first one where Peter's just dancing off and we have the intro with a fun and whimsical making light of a very serious situation.
Hope you're ready. It'll be here any minute. Is that a rifle?
You don't know what a rifle looks like?
It's just swords were your thing and guns were mine. But I guess we're both doing guns now. I just didn't know that.
Well, that's intense.
Same thing happens with a very colorful intro with Baby Groot and everyone else battling a giant squid. So obviously this is the second one. Obviously the people are the same, and there's a couple of new people. So obviously we got Star-Lord, we got Gamora, we got Drax, Groot, who's now Baby Groot, and Rocket. What I think is kind of cute, in the last one, we saw that Groot was the bodyguard, but now because of what happened in the last movie, it's sort of switching around. Rocket Raccoon is actually sort of the bodyguard for the Baby Groot.
Because that will set off the bomb immediately and we'll all be dead. Now repeat back what I just said.
I am Groot.
No! No, that's the button that will kill everyone!
And for the new characters, 2 out of 3 of them you actually already know. The first one is the blue Nebula chick. She's actually the sister of Gamora, who's actually played by Karen Gillan, who I know from Doctor Who. Gotcha. I see you, Karen. Amy Pond. And of course, Michael Rooker, who I know from Walking Dead, and I think he was a character from Black Ops or Call of Duty, one of those games, but he's back as Yondu, better than ever, and ends up being the heart of the movie. The newest addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy is Mantis, who's actually played by a French Canadian. French Canadian, I know, right? She's actually half Asian and half French. So in this movie, it's actually more of a character study. So what exactly are the Guardians doing now? They're doing exactly what their namesake is. They're protecting the galaxy. It seems like they've had a reputation of being hired by other planets and other organizations and actually serving them for their own purposes.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags, but that isn't true at all.
Dude.
I'm using my wrong eye.
But a lot of stuff happened that I can't really talk about. Spoiler alert. No actual spoiler alert. But the main focus of this movie is Kurt Russell, who plays Peter Quill's dad. Show that in the trailer. I'm your dad, Peter.
I'm your dad, Peter.
So after that inciting incident, blah, 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 the team actually has to separate. And this is where the movie sort of becomes like, you know, I guess Empire Strikes Back or even Godfather Part 2, where there's sort of multiple stories doing it their own thing, and then eventually they come together in the end. And when movies tend to do this, sometimes you could fall victim to, I'm having trouble keeping up with everything. But this movie does a fabulous job of grabbing your attention with visuals, action sequences, and of course, the humor. So with Peter Quill, obviously he meets his dad, has a lot of questions, a lot of daddy issues. Why did you leave, Mom? What the hell? And of course, that's the main focus, but everybody has their own subplot. So I mentioned before, Nebula is part of the group. Of course, there's Gamora and Nebula butting heads on trying to rekindle some sort of sisterly rivalry, is that a word? Rivalry. Will they, you know, work together for the greater good? And yeah, it's not ripe. It's not a ripe relationship. And Rocket and Groot actually meet up with Yondu, you know, not spoiling too much, but that's where their story leads off to. And of course, the very awkward, it's great to have Drax and Mantis paired together. Both of them have very, very weird social skills. With Drax in the first movie was very literal.
His people are completely literal. Metaphors are gonna go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
Straight to the point, blunt. Not even a metaphor can fly over my head. No social skills, actually. That's what it is. And you have him paired up with Mantis, and it's just great. You see it in the trailer. I feel feelings.
Oh, there are feelings. You feel love.
Yeah, I guess, I feel a general unselfish love for just about everybody.
No, sexual love.
No, I don't.
For her.
No.
And then Mantis, who just has no social skills. What's great is because Drax has grown from Volume 1 to Volume 2 with, you know, some developed social skills, and a sense of humor. Out of all the people to teach someone who knows nothing about social skills, it's a very odd and humorous pairing. And of course it has a funny, hilarious, visually stunning movie, but it does have a lot of heart, and the movie does play on your emotional strings a few times. But of course, going right back to Peter Quill, he's the main character. Chris Pratt has come a long way. He's great, he's hilarious. And of course, with him, is this gonna be like you're gonna trust Kurt Russell, or is this going to be like a Coraline thing, or is the dad actually preparing him for something more dangerous? Volume 3, Infinity Wars. And of course, the funny thing about this movie is the 80s is written all over this movie. I was born in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s. Even in the beginning, it starts off in Missouri. That's such a low name. Missouri is 1980. Starts off of there with a little prequel shot of the Quill family, and then just through the entire movie, it's just 80s soundtrack, 80s themes, I guess, family, and 80s humor. And for me, I was born in 1988, but I actually grew up with the 90s, but I know enough to appreciate more than half of the references in this movie. Actually, now that I think about it, I was born when Quill was technically abducted. So obviously we know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is notorious for having Easter eggs and cameos, and this movie is plentiful of them. Sylvester Stallone, for out of all people, Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone sort of had their careers rising during the same era. You know, we had the Escape from New York, Escape from LA, and Stallone, who pretty much botched Dredd, but they rebooted. Thank God for that.
I never broke the law. I am the law.
And usually there's about, you know, you stick around for the mid-credits and there's probably something after that. But apparently in this movie, there's five post-ending credits. What's interesting about this movie is they usually tend to connect with the other ones, but this one is a standalone movie. It looks at each character, their relations to each other. What does it mean to have a family? Do you have to be blood related? Is it just more than being like biologically connected to someone? So Guardians of the Galaxy was honestly a surprise hit for me and probably for a lot of people out there. And if you loved it just as much as I did, you're gonna have an absolute blast with Volume 2. It's visually stunning. Characters have grown from 1 to 2, and even the violence that happens, some of the dark moments in this movie, they even managed to make light of it. For example, Baby Groot dancing while everyone else is fighting the giant squid in the background. Or in one particular scene where Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and Yondu are taking on a bunch of guys on their own. It's awesome. Also very violent. But that's just it though. This movie just knows how to have fun. Whether it's a serious situation, whether it's a heartwarming situation, it's a fun movie that just knows how to make you smile and laugh. Now with that being said, I'm gonna give this 4 cassette tapes out of 5. I love the music for this movie. It's just awesome. Even as from the 80s, I'm on the lookout for the soundtrack for Volume 2. Okay, guys, if you liked this review, you look down, like, and subscribe, and you'll be good to go. Check out my other reviews, and I'll see you next time. Bye!